welcome to biology class. Here we are with another part for chapter number 4, ecosystems, and we will complete the remaining topics in this video itself. So the topic we will begin with here is food chain and food web. Whenever the different organisms in the ecosystem are looked upon, they are all interdependent on each other with regard to their food. Availability of food is moving in the form of chain-like structure, means one organism depends on the other for the food, for getting the proper food. So like we can say the rabbit is eaten by another animal, fox, and fox itself will be eaten by some other higher animal. So this will form a single chain-like structure, and such passage or such kind of structure is called as a food chain. Food is moving in one form, we can say in a single chain like structure called as the food chain. So that is what we will learn now. So if we see the definition of the food chain, what it is a series of organisms which are linked to each other through the process of eating or being eaten. One animal is the one who is eating the another smaller animal. So that is what comprises a food chain. Here we have a simple food chain. The first it begins with the plants. All the food chain will begin with the plants because they are doing the photosynthesis, and we can say them as the producers. So grass is being eaten by the rabbit, that is a herbivore, and then it itself is eaten by another, that is fox. So this makes a simple food chain. Let us continue here. You can see the same thing they have given in the photograph given here. So in this case, what is being done is, so it will begin, whenever we talk about a particular food chain, it will always begin with a particular plant or plant species, and then followed by it second one will be a herbivore which is eating the plant products, and third one will be the carnivore, and subsequently many more carnivores can come after that also. So the particular kind of the food chain is there. We can have a more detailed discussion now. A simple food chain has only 3 or 4 consumers, and it will begin with what? The food chain begin with a producer, which is always and always a plant. The plant is being eaten by another kind of the animal, generally which is a herbivore. So producer is feeding what? It is feeding a primary consumer, which is a herbivorous animal. Next one followed by this will be the secondary consumer. First is producer, second is primary consumer, followed by secondary consumer. Then we are having another one which is called as the tertiary consumer. So this will form a chain like structure. Producer is the kind of the different types of the plants only which are doing the photosynthesis. They prepare their food themselves. They are not dependent on other organisms. They are autotrophic in nature. So they prepare their own food, but this food is then transferred subsequently in a chain like structure called as the food chain. Here you can see a food chain: grass, earthworm, frog, and heron. So all these are having these 4 things: primary consumer, secondary consumer, and last is tertiary consumer. So all these levels what we are talking about are called as the trophic levels in a food chain. The first trophic level, it begins with where the food chain is beginning, is having the plants, and this first trophic level will transfer the energy. Food is having the energy, so this energy in the food is transferred from the first trophic level to the second trophic level, which includes the herbivorous animal. Then again the same energy will again get transferred into the third trophic level, which is having the carnivores, and finally these carnivores like snake, frog, etc., they are again eaten by the next one, that is the fourth trophic level organisms, which include the higher carnivores like the eagle, tiger, lion. All these animals are eating other animals. So these all are included in the fourth trophic level, and these animals which are in the higher carnivores, they are generally not killed by other animals. So how they will die? They will simply die out of their old age, or due to any disease or injury that may be caused to them. So that is all about the different trophic level, how the energy is transported. And this energy flow is always unidirectional. Yes, always energy flows from the producer to the consumer. Never it will move in the opposite manner. It is not possible. Always energy is in one direction, from the producer, that is plants, to the consumer, that is the animals, and in the animals also from the herbivorous to the carnivorous. So that is a unidirectional flow. We can call it as a unidirectional directional means a single directional flow of energy is always there. And how much energy is moving? So it is experimentally proved already that only and only 10% of the energy is passed from the producer to the primary consumer, and subsequently only 10% energy will be transferred. So from the plants, whatever energy is in the plant, only 10% of that energy moves forward to the herbivore, and then from the herbivorous animal it is eaten by carnivore. Then whatever energy is inside the herbivorous animal, its 10% again will move to the carnivore, and then again when this carnivore is eaten by higher carnivore, again it will again reduce, and then it's 10%. So ultimately it will be a very small amount of energy that will move up to the higher trophic level, up to the higher carnivore level. So ultimately we can say that most of the food chain never go higher than the secondary or the tertiary consumer, because that till that level a very small amount of energy only is being transferred. So that after that time, when the particular food chain reaches the tertiary level, the food chain is ultimately stopped there. So that is the flow of energy, how it is taking place. And it is beginning from where? It is beginning from the plants, and plants are getting energy from sun. So all the green plant which are the producer, they are providing energy. That is why only they are called as they are called as the producers. And this producer ultimately from where they are getting the energy? They are getting energy from the sun. Sun is the ultimate source of energy for all the living organisms. You can see in this diagram now, the sun is providing energy to the plants. Energy moves to the plants by photosynthesis. Food is prepared there. This food moves to the insect. Insect is eaten by frog. Frog is eaten by snake, and so on. The energy flow is going on. But how much energy will flow? In each trophic level, only 10% energy will move. So that is a particular rule you have to follow. Now, so related to this only food chain, we have called as the food web. That is when various food chains are working together, they get interconnected. All different food chains cannot be functioning in isolation, means all will not work separately. Most of the, or we can say almost all the food chains are interconnected, and what we can say, that will form a web-like structure. That is the definition. You can mark and learn this. The interconnected network of different food chains makes what? It makes or constitutes a food web. So ultimately in the food web also same thing will be there, but it will be a group of food chains. You can see a network of food chains, all are interconnected to each other. So this is a diagrammatic representation. It also begins with the plants or the producers. Here in this diagram they have shown grass in representing the producer. Grass is eaten by insects like beetle. It can also be eaten by rat, also by herbivorous animals like rabbit. So all these can eat the plant products. Then again these insects can be eaten by other carnivorous animals. So as you can see, all these are interconnected, and this is what is called as a food web. So what is the exact definition? Food web is a complex pattern. It is a complex pattern of the feeding relationship joined or found by the different types of the food chain interlinked together. So whenever different food chains interlink, what is formed is called as the food web. So that is all how the energy moves in nature. Here are different type of the food chains, and all these can work together in the form of a food web. So that is all you can read through, how which animal is being eaten by the other. So that is all, and we can put this food chain or food web in different structures called as pyramids. The concept of this ecological pyramids was given by Charles Elton. Remember the name, underline in the book. This is what Elton has developed. Charles Elton gave ecological pyramid. That is a graph like structure, and it will show the number of organisms. Also it will show how much energy or biomass, or it will also show the productivity at each trophic level. Trophic level, just now we have seen producers, herbivores, carnivores, and so on. So at each trophic level in the food chain, how much and how many organisms are there, how much energy is being transferred from one trophic level to another trophic level. All this data is represented in a graphical manner in a pyramid. So that is how the pyramid will look like when we draw on a notebook. You will see a triangular structure. It can be inverted also. So that is what is ecological pyramid. We will first of all study pyramid of numbers. As the name is representing, it shows the total number of the individual or organisms of different species present at each trophic level. So first of all, we'll see the pyramid of number, which is upright. Upright means like a normal triangle only it will look like. So in this case what will happen, the number of the individual decreases from the lower trophic level to the higher trophic level. Means as we move from the producers towards the higher trophic level, that is the carnivores, the number of animals will decrease. More producers means a large amount of plants are being eaten by herbivores which are lesser in number, then herbivores are again eaten by carnivores which are even lesser in number. So as we move from the producer to herbivore to carnivore, what will happen, the number of organisms will reduce. So that is what is called as pyramid of number. You can see this example now, like here pyramid of number is upright in this case. In a grassland ecosystem, the grass is in a large quantity, so it is in abundance, it will be in a huge quantity there. Next trophic level is what, that is of the primary consumer, the herbivorous. They will be slightly less, grasshopper like insects will be lesser than the grass. Obviously grass is more, insect is less than the grass. So grasshopper is there, the next level. So number of grasshopper is less than that of the grass. The next trophic level is that of the primary carnivorous, like the rats are eating these grasshopper. Now rats cannot be more than the grasshopper. Obviously number of rat is less than the grasshopper because they feed on the grasshopper. If rats are more, they will not get enough grasshoppers to eat, then rat will also die. So rats are generally less compared to the grasshopper in an ecosystem. Next trophic level, that is the secondary carnivore, like the snake again they will be less than the rats. Followed by the next one, that is the higher trophic level, the top one, like the hawk or eagle, they are eating the snakes, so they will again be still lesser than the earlier one. So like this we can make a flow chart kind of, or we can say graphical representation. You can see this is how the pyramid of number looks like. Producers are more in quantity, then herbivores are again less in quantity, carnivores are again minimum in quantity. So like this the quantity is reducing. So you can see a pointed structure upwards, and a triangular like of pyramid is being developed here. So pyramid of number is upright in a grassland ecosystem. It may also go upside down, means it can also invert. So that will happen where? That will happen in the case of the tree ecosystem. On a single tree only many organisms are living. So producer is one only tree. Now here in this diagram you can see grass is in a big quantity, in that all this food chain is working. But in the case of the tree pyramid, what will happen? Only on a single tree all the organisms are living. On a single tree itself many birds are there, many insects are there. So we can say on a single producer lot of organisms are developing. So what will happen, on a single tree we will observe a upright, means an inverted pyramid will be observed, opposite pyramid will be observed, it will get inverted in tree ecosystem. So that is how it will be there in that case. So that is all about the pyramids. Now we will move towards the interdependence between different organisms. Different type of organisms can live together, they survive together and we call this concept as symbiosis. What is it? It is the interaction of the species, in which case what is happening in this interaction, when two species are living together, they can benefit each other or they can harm also. One of the organism can take the benefit and harm the other one. This is depending on its different type. Basically three types of symbiotic relationships are there. First is called as the parasitism, in which the one species which is called as a parasite, it takes the benefit from the other but at the expense of other, means it is harming the other organism. One is getting the benefit but it is harming the other one. For example, lice lives on the body of human beings. In the human beings it is causing the loss, it is sucking the blood of the human being. So lice is an insect, that is a parasite, it lives on the human being. So that is one example of such parasitism. Next one we will move is mutualism. It is a relationship in which the both organisms are benefiting. In parasites they are causing harm to the other, one is getting benefit, another one is getting harm. But in mutualism no one is being harmed, both are getting benefit from each other. Example is ants live in acacia tree, so the tree as well as ants both are benefiting each other. Well, how is it so? Acacia tree, the tree is giving home to these ants are living there now, so they are giving home to these ants. On the other side, what these ants are doing for the tree, these ants are guarding, they are protecting the tree from the other attacking insects. Insects cannot attack the tree, so that it is safe and secure. That is why you can say tree is also getting the benefit, it is getting security from the ants. by the help of ants, it is secure there. So both are benefiting each other. Ants are getting food, in return they are providing the security to the tree. So this is called as mutualism. Both the organism benefit from each other in this symbiotic relationship. Next one is commensalism. In this, what will happen? One of the organism consumes the unused food from the other. Does not harm the host. Only it will eat the unused food. Whatever food is extra, that only this another organism will eat. Example we'll see, like the remora fish forms a temporary attachment to the shark and picks up the food from the scrap, and the shark feeds. Shark is eating its normal food. After it has eaten, some food will be remaining. Whatever food will be remaining, that the remora fish will eat. So it will only use the unused food only, and it is living on the body of shark only. It attaches, not living there. It temporarily attach only to obtain the food. It itself, a remora fish will not search for the food itself. It attaches, it joins with the body of the shark. Shark will look for the food. When it finds, it will eat. Remora fish will simply wait for its turn. When the shark has completely eaten the food, whatever is remaining, remora fish will now eat. So remora fish is actually getting a benefit. It gets the food without searching. Shark is doing the work, searching the food and all. When the food is being used there, whatever remaining thing is there, the remora fish will eat. So no one is being harmed, but one is getting benefit also. So that is what is called as commensalism. These are the different type of the symbiotic relationships in existence in the ecosystem. Similar concept is also called as the predation. Just now in the food chain we have seen the higher organism eats the lower organism. Such a concept is called as predation. Means the predator, the higher organism, will eat its prey, the smaller organism. Example we can take like the bear. The bear eats other small animals like berry. So just a minute. The bear eats the smaller animals, like here it is given in the example. Bear eats berry, rabbit eats lettuce, grasshopper eats leaves, and so on. So bigger organism is eating the smaller thing. It can be a plant product, it can be a small animal also. So whatever animal is the higher organism which is eating, that is called as the predator. The substance or the not substance, the organism, it may be a plant or animal, whichever is being eaten, it is called as the prey. So that is what is this concept only is called as the predation. It is also a kind of a symbiotic relationship, but in this case one is a predator, another one is the prey. But if we say the predator and the prey both are of the same species, this is a special case. If they are of the same species, then it is not predation, it is called as cannibalism. This concept is called as cannibalism. Only definition you need to know. That's rest all is not required. So we have completed all the concepts related to food chain, how the organisms are interdependent on each other. So different animals are interdependent and plants are the providers of the food. So finally we can say the plants are providing food to the animals, but animals are also helping the plants. How is it so? Both are interdependent. How? We will see now. First of all, point number one, animals are on the plants for the respiration, because plants are providing oxygen. So ultimately we can say animal get oxygen from the plants. But opposite, if you see, for the photosynthesis, plants need something, that is carbon dioxide. From where this carbon dioxide is made available? Animals only are releasing the CO2 by breathing. We also, when we breathe, CO2 is being produced. So ultimately we are giving CO2 to these plants only. So both plant and animal are dependent on each other. So that is how we can say. Next one, the second point, only same thing is there, that is plant depend on food for photosynthesis because of the CO2. Next one, point number next, that is all animals that are living on the tree. So they are all depending on the plant for their shelters, because trees provide shelter to the different animals. So again, animal depend on the plants, you can see in this point. Also for the pollination, we have discussed pollinations earlier in the previous chapters. Insects and birds are the pollinating agents. So again, animals are helping the plants, so the flowers to pollinate. So in this case we can say plants are depending on the animals. So that is another point. Lastly, the dead remaining parts of the animals are decomposed by the microorganism. The dead animal body, even the dead plant body, also depends on the microorganism. If there are no microorganism, then the dead body will not decompose. It will simply remain forever in the environment. Also it produces foul smell. So only these microorganisms are responsible for decomposing that particular dead remains of the animals. So ultimately we can say all the organisms, it is animal, it may be plant, it may be microorganism, all are interdependent, all are dependent in one way or the other on each other, and each one of them, plant, animal, microorganism, each one is having a proper role, and that is why we call that there should be a proper balance in nature. That is our next topic also. There has to be a balance in the nature. How it is maintained? That is maintained in the form of the food chain. In the food chain, just now we have already discussed in the pyramid of number. As you move from downward to upwards, what is happening? Producers are more and carnivores are less. If it is opposite, just imagine if more lions are there in the jungle and deer are less, then what will happen? All the lion will eat all the deer. Okay, that is one case. But after all the deers are over, what about the lions? From where they will get the food? So that is the balance in nature should be maintained. It should not be disturbed. So that is what we call balance in nature. And we can say the number of the herbivores, if it is decreasing, it will affect. Means if the plant eating animals are decreasing, what will happen? The carnivores will not get the food, and finally they will also die. So each and every organism in nature is having a proper role, and if any of the even a single link in the food chain is broken, the entire food chain is affected and the balance in the nature will be disturbed. But human beings are doing the same thing. Our activities are disturbing this balance in nature. How is it so? First is by using excessive chemicals. Because of this, many organisms are being affected, especially the insects. अब insect affect होंगे, then what will happen? Insects are the food for the carnivorous animals, the lower carnivorous animals, and ultimately the food chain is disturbed. So even the insects should not be harmed, they will affect the food chain. Ultimately human beings only will face the consequence. Next is deforestation. We have been cutting the forest regularly, and ultimately what happened? Ultimately there are no insects are there, so that means there is a problem with regard to the lower carnivores like the snake, rabbit, frog and all. They are not there, and finally tiger, lions also lose their natural habitat due to the loss of the forest. They are not able to get a proper habitat, and this is affecting all the animal species, and the food chain also get affected due to this. The last one is greenhouse effect, that is related to the human activities only, that is causing the changes in the overall temperature on the earth. That is called as the greenhouse effect. It is due to what? Due to the greenhouse gases which are present on the earth because of the pollution we are causing. Greenhouse gases, one of them is carbon dioxide. It is getting blocked or it is getting collected in the atmosphere. More amount of CO2 will lead to increase in the overall temperature on the earth, and it causes greenhouse effect, and ultimately it will lead to global warming. So that is all how the human beings are disturbing this balance in nature. So that is all. Almost all topics are completed. There we have one last topic, that is called as the forest ecosystem. One ecosystem they have given in details. So forest, if we talk about as an ecosystem, it is a natural form, it is a natural woodland unit. What it comprises? It is having trees, plants, animals and microorganisms. Take care, human beings are not there. That is why it is safe and secure. If human beings will intervene, forest ecosystem will be destroyed. So let us keep the humans away from this. Trees, plants, animals and microorganisms are a part of this, and these are all what? All these what are underlined, these are all called as the biotic part, because these are all living things. All the living things, trees, plant, animal, microorganisms are the biotic part. And they are in interaction with the non-living physical factors called as the abiotic parts, like the soil is there, water or temperature or light. All these are the abiotic factors which are in different kind of the ecosystem. Let us see this. Different type of the forests are there. First is tropical, next temperate, boreal, that is called as the taiga. You will read this more about in detail in the geography. Let us remain confined to the topic related to the food chain only in this part. First is the producers itself. The forest only itself is the biggest producer of the energy on the earth by the process of photosynthesis. So when we talk about the rainforest, then there are different type of the trees which are observed there. First is the canopy trees. These are the tallest trees in the rainforest. In the evergreen forest are only called as the rainforest. In this case, what will happen? The canopy trees are having very thick branches, and what will happen? They are there it is given, most of the trees have tall thick trunks with no branches, and the canopy can be 40 feet deep. So this is only for reading part, nothing important is there. Next is called as the lianas, and these are another type of the plants only. They have adapted to us other plants as stepping stones that reach the precious sunlight. These are also present in the rainforest. The third type is called as the epiphytes. These are also present there, and these are doing what? They are absorbing the water and also the nutrients from the air by using the special roots. They are having a special kind of the roots which are generally joined to the ground. Means from the branches only the roots will develop and they join to the ground, and they will allow to access the sunlight high in the canopy. Next is the moss and the ferns. These are the smaller plants only. They are generally present in the moist environment, especially in the rainforest. You can find them. These are all different type of the plants only. I have not gone into details. This is not that much required. Also, we'll just finish it now. In the forest ecosystem, after the different type of the plants, we have the consumer, primary, secondary, and tertiary. We have seen already in the food chains. So that is different type of animals are there. Further followed by this are the decomposers, which are eating the dead organic matter, converting the bodies of the dead plant and animals into the small decomposed matter, organic matter, which is mixed into the soil, and ultimately from that soil new plants can grow, ultimately getting proper nutrients. One such example of decomposers are the fungus. Fungi are the great decomposers and recyclers of nature. So that is all for the section part. One more video is there for the remaining exercises. That is only for your reference. You can have a look if you need any of the answer. That's all for this class. Thank you.